The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Before the feast of Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to pass from this world to the Father. He loved his own in the world, and he loved them to the end. The devil had already induced Judas, son of Simon the Iscariot, to hand him over. So during supper, fully aware that the Father had put everything into his power and that he had come from God and was returning to God, he rose from the supper and took off his outer garments. He took a towel and tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and dry them with the towel around his waist. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Master, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered and said to him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but you will understand later." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "Unless I wash you, you will have no inheritance with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Master, then not only my feet, but my hands and head as well." Jesus said to him, "Whoever has bathed has no need except to have his feet washed, for he is clean all over. So you are clean, but not all." For he knew who would betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." Washed their feet and put his garments back on and reclined again at table, he said to them, "Do you realize what I have done for you? You call me teacher and master, and rightly so, for indeed I am. If I, therefore, the master and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash one another's feet. I have given you a model to follow, so that as I have done for you, you should also do." The Gospel of the Lord. This Holy Week, I'm asking the question, are we moving toward Jesus or away from him? This grew out of the Passion from Matthew that we heard last Sunday on Palm Sunday. Each day this week gives us a unique perspective on that question. Today, on Holy Thursday, we are given the image of Jesus who served. So the question becomes, are we moving toward Jesus, the servant, or away from him? Think about how this happened for the disciples. They'd been with Jesus for 3 years. He told them he was about service, but they really didn't get it. He said he came to serve, not be served. He associated with children, the least ones. He never made a big deal about his miracles. Still, they were all hung up on the power and the glory. They argued over which one of them should be considered the greatest. They wanted to do the things that Jesus did. They wanted to heal the sick, raise the dead, feed large crowds, walk on water, turn water into wine. I mean, that'd make you really popular, you know? When they gathered for the meal, they must have figured, we're really in now. Here Jesus takes the bread, he said, "This is my body." He takes the wine, he says, "This is my blood." And now they figure, this is it. We're going to get the power. We're going to share in that glory. And then Jesus got up from the table and he washed their feet. That must have thrown him for a loop. Get to Peter, and he said, "You'll never wash my feet. You're the master, you're the teacher. Masters and teachers, they don't wash feet." What he might have been saying is, I want to be a master. I don't want to wash feet. Jesus said, "If I don't wash you, you will have no inheritance with me." Well, they all might have been looking at each other thinking, do we want an inheritance with him? Is this what it is? If this is that inheritance, maybe we don't want it. Jesus said he gave them a model to follow. We go as far as to call it a mandate. Jesus is about service. His way is to take the lowest position. He serves the least ones, the ones who can do nothing for you. That's power and glory, according to Jesus. When we receive the Eucharist, we receive Jesus. He is truly present. We receive the body and blood of Jesus. We take him into ourselves. We become Jesus. We are receiving the Jesus who came to serve, to wash feet. He called his disciples to do the same. Receiving him and being one with him is about following his way. If we don't allow Jesus to serve us, we'll have no inheritance with him. To take on the way of Jesus is to bring that inheritance to life. We are called in the same way. We receive Jesus who came to serve. We were given an inheritance with him, an inheritance of service. And that brings us back to that question. Are we moving toward Jesus, who came to serve, or away from him?